Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James. It's time for another installment for My Personal Games. Here we are in round 4 for the Labor Day Tournament 2022. This time I'm playing against a local strong expert player, Doug Huddleston. And man, this was a very tough game. Every game I play with Doug is usually pretty tough. And this one, man, we went down to the wire. I think it's like a 70 move game. Opening, middle game, end game. Here we go. Knight f3 got played, g6, and then he went e4 here. So typically, Doug will play this kind of c4, b4 weird-looking system. So I played g6 here to handle bishop g7 if b4 did get played. And here I was surprised that he played pawn e4. It threw me off guard. I wasn't sure what his preparation was, so I played a little bit weird here. I went ahead and played knight f6 here, kind of like an Alekhine right here. He went ahead and played knight c3. Definitely not the best move here. Playing e5 to take the advantage is the way to play here. I was hoping he would know the lines, and, well, he chose not to play it. Knight c3 and d5. This is what they play now in the Alekhine, so I played it here. Pawn e5 got played, knight e4. Again, this is all theory in this Alekhine defense, and he played the very good move of pawn to d4. One of the ideas here is that, well, you can't take on e4 right away, because after pawn takes, the knight moves away. Well, these pawns are a little bit weird looking, and black already has full equality here. After queen d5, it's not too sure if they could defend this pawn or not. But either way, white definitely cannot claim an advantage in this position. So d4 got played. Definitely a good, strong move here, controlling the center. Pawn c5, trying to break the center as well. This was almost looking like a French to me, so I decided that would be a decent idea. Here we played bishop b5, check, the strongest move, developing with a threat. Knight c6, castles. And then here I went ahead and played knight takes c3, which was maybe not the best decision here. This really helps strengthen his center, and, well, he gets really good attacking chances later on in the game. You can see the pawn structure saying definitely attack here. And I want to put pressure on the d4 pawn. So, well, I went ahead and just played bishop d7. I want to put pressure on the pawn, but I was a little afraid to do this. Taking on d4 I don't think is too helpful for me here. After pawn c3, I can't attack the pawn again. So there's no need to rush to put pressure on either one of these pawns. And my king is, uncastled, and we're already on move 8, so I don't want to deal with that kind of nonsense. So I went ahead and played bishop g7, bishop e3, forcing matters. And here I was unsure if I should take on d4 or play pawn c4. What do you guys think? Is c takes d4 best, or should pawn c4 get played? Again, I do recommend that you push pause, analyze the situation, and let me know what you think. In this one, well, computer's saying you should definitely play something like pawn c4 here. I'm not sure if I totally agree with this, but it definitely does have some pros and cons. I mean, this pawn on the c pawn is definitely going to be weak. The double pawns it'll definitely play against. I was more worried about, bishop takes, pawn takes, and I guess with my bishop being able to come out, it might be okay. But maybe something like h3 here, and, well, what is it? Where does this bishop go? And I wasn't sure if I could play for a win with this kind of structure here. Yeah. There's definitely always ways to play for a win. And here it's just giving equality, so this was definitely a good way to play. And, well, I went ahead and took on d4, and now white actually gets a very strong center, which will later on lead to an attack. He took back on d4. I played bishop d7, a cheap little trick to win a pawn. Weirdly enough, he did miss this, and I was able to win the pawn. Here he played queen to d2. All right, black to move and win a pawn. What do you play here? Yeah, simple chess. It's just the French idea. I played knight takes on e5 because the bishop's undefended. e5 over here. Yeah, I was very surprised to have won this pawn, especially so easily. This was a game 90, 30-second increment, so I assumed this was going to be a long game for both of us because, again, we go down to the wire mostly in every game that we play. He played d takes e5, bishop takes b5, and rook f to d1. And I went ahead and just played bishop back to c6 to defend the pawn. Now, I am up an extra pawn, but this is those times where you're up the pawn and you just don't feel it. Because, well, it's really hard for black to get a plan going here. I can't really push for the king side right now. Queen side I could push for, but the pawns are perfectly placed to stop them. And the d pawn can't really be pushed at all because, well, you can see that the d4 square is plenty underneath control here. So computer is, even though this is up an extra pawn, is just giving us as equality. And I definitely felt it in the game. I really felt like I couldn't do too much here. That being said, let's just play good chess here. He went ahead and played rook a b1. I castled. Pawn to h4. I like this move. Doug's been getting very aggressive against me and trying to attack me, which has been pretty fun. A lot of times it's hard to create the imbalance to play for a win. And when Doug is doing this, he's just attacking me so much. It creates that imbalance, so it's easy for both of us to play for a win. Queen c7 here, just developing and attacking the pawn. And bishop h6. He wants to go ahead and trade off bishops, which I do not blame him, as the knight on d4 can definitely be superior to the bishop on c6, which is actually just being blocked by the pawn. Here I went ahead and played pawn e6, rook b4 here, and this was pretty interesting to me. I saw an idea of maybe going h5 that he wanted to do, and maybe rook h4. And again, I'll just do a quick little idea. Maybe I play, I don't know, rook c8 here. I saw h5 as an idea, maybe a5, and then rook h4. And the idea here is to take, and then maybe queen h4 comes in, maybe the knight comes in. It's getting a little scary here over here, and yeah, he definitely has some attacking prospects. I saw some of these ideas, and I was like, you know what? I think I can just do this idea. Black to move. What's an interesting idea to try and play for an advantage? All right, hopefully you looked for a little while, and you saw, well, bishop takes e5. And this, although computer is giving it as maybe a slight edge for white, if not just equality, I really like this as black because, well, I'm going to have this strong bishop, and it's really hard for white to find a way to break through, as we'll see in the game. So knight takes, queen takes. Nice little tempo move, rook e1. Queen d6, and now he finally took, and then I took right here. And this was my plan. I have 2 pawns for the exchange, which is, you know, equal as far as material goes. But the real idea is that I want to push these pawns forward, and I saw it was going to be hard for him to stop me to do this. And, well, again, what is he trying to do here? Basically, he has to restrain me and do a nice, slow process of finding weaknesses. Well, I'm going to do my best not to let that happen. He played h5 here, trying to do an attack. Queen g7, just stopping any kind of ideas. And also, I was thinking about playing pawn to b5 here very soon. Rook b3, rook e8. Here we go again. e5 is going to be pushed. h6 and queen to f8. I will say this pawn was very, very annoying, as some people might see this as a weakness. I saw it as a strength for him because there's lots of variations here where it's kind of hard. I have to keep an eye on checkmating patterns. And, well, you know, my back rank is weak, especially when my queen leaves it. So my queen's almost on guard duty the whole time over here. All right, let's try to expand. He went ahead and played rook e to b1, and I was like, oh, no, he's trying to sack back the material and then have a strong position for his rook. I didn't like this, so I played rook e7. I gave up the exchange. You're not going to do this to me. Pawn to a4. Of course, I cannot take as well. He'll just take on b7. The idea is we need to stop as many pawn trades as possible. The more pawns that get off the board here, the stronger the rooks become. So trades are not good for me unless I get something out of it. All right, pawn e5. Let's push these center pawns. That was my idea. Pawn a5. Pawn a6, stopping it. I don't want to allow a6, b6, because then the c file can become open. So a6 gets played, rook b6. Now he has a new idea. He's going to try to exchange this way. All right, I played queen c8 here, guarding everything. Queen g5 here, and here you do have to guard the correct way. Is rook e6 the move, or do you play queen e6? Hope you don't fall for the trap. Here, if you play queen e6, which looks more natural, well, you just got into a losing position. White to move and win. What does white play here? Rook takes c6, and it's just going to be a forced checkmate here. What a beautiful move to play. Of course, if I try to take back with the pawn, it's game over. Checkmate in 3. Rook check. Rook e8, and now the beautiful queen to f6. How beautiful is that? And there's no good answer for the queen f6, queen to g7 checkmate, and rook takes e8. If you try taking with the queen, well, simple chess, you just play queen takes e7, and mate is not too far away, as again, the back rank is just too weak here. So I did see this, of course. I played rook e6. Pawn f4, another very good move for him. He's just trying to open up the position, but now I'm able to start kicking him back. Pawn to f6, queen g3. Pawn takes on f4. Not a move I want to play, but pretty much forced to. If I try to do anything else, he has a strong threat of f5 coming. And, well, I can't really parry that threat too easily. So, pawn takes on f4, queen takes on f4, king f7, trying to get out of these back rank ideas. Queen to b4 here. And here, well, he's definitely saying I want to sacrifice and go into this endgame. I think at this point, we were both starting to get a little low on time. He had less time than I had. I think I had like 20-ish minutes while he was starting to get down to the teens. And, yeah, he wanted to simplify the position so he can really understand it. And I definitely think that was a good choice for him. Here, I thought for quite a while. I want to make sure I get the right move. And here, I found the idea of playing pawn g5. Allowing him to sack the exchange, but the idea is that my king just goes to g6 and I'll win the h6 pawn. And I saw that this was still have very good winning chances for a rook and pawn endgame. Even though they say all rook and pawn endgames are drawn, I definitely was going to try and fight that today. All right, rook takes b7 check, takes, check. Here I played king g6, rook b6 here, and here I had already calculated rook e2, rook takes, rook d6, rook c5, a6, and then rook a5. And this is what I had calculated when I played this idea of g5. Here I saw that I was going to be able to stop the pawn, and well, look at all these extra pawns here, and h6 will fall at some point. With that being said, although I am up an extra few pawns here, it's not so simple to win so easily. It does still take very good technique here. I'm sorry, I'm just up one extra pawn here. It's a little hard to grab this pawn because if you grab this one, f6 falls. He played king f2, and I went ahead and just made the fast decision. I'm just going to take on h6 here. Computer gives some other lines here, and after king takes h6, the computer's giving this as almost dead even now. I've lost a big part of my advantage. Luckily for me, I did not know that, so I kept pressing for the win. Rook takes, king h5, rook d6, and here I played for the win with king g4. Now this does allow rook h6, but I didn't see any other way to make progress. I want to push the h pawn, but I can't, because if I go h6, the rook just kind of stays here, and well, yeah, I guess this is just not what just not the right way to play. Computer's giving king g4 as a top move here too. Now, even though I could lose this h pawn, the idea is I still can put pressure on the king over here, and I have a passed d pawn over here. And I saw that there was really good chances of winning the g pawn here too, because the rook is a better place than this rook is over here. Also, if he does trade me h pawn for a pawn, well then it's like I'm only playing for two ideas here. Either I'm going to win this game or I'm going to draw this game. And most likely I was thinking, you know, worst case scenario is a draw. I'm going to keep pushing here. I went ahead and played check, king back, king g3, and he played the best move here, rook h3. Of course, don't go pawn grabbing here as well. Rook a1 check, king e2, and you can take on a6, or you can take on g2 here, maybe even rook a2 check. There's lots of different ways here for black to keep the advantage going. All right, so I play king g3, rook h3, king f4. Now he took. Now I take, and rook d7 check. So I have these two pawns versus the one. As this is very important because it's a pass pawn. King e5, rook g7, king f4, rook f7. I was seeing if he was going to allow me to get my king in closer or play my pawn to g4. Of course, he's playing the best defense here and not letting me make too much progress. I played king e3. He played the rook e7 check, king to d4. Maybe king d3. No, it does say that my king d4 was the best move. And rook g7. And here I saw I could get my rook to a better place. Rook f6 check, exclam. Now this is a strong move, not only because the rook will come over to defend the pawns, but also it's going to cut the king out. I got two choices here. If the king goes to g1, well, here comes my d pawn. I'm going to push it after I play rook f5, right? You can see that this rook will lose to this pawn and king. Well, what happens if he goes to e1? Well, now my king can go over here and try to put pressure on the g pawn. So either way, this rook move is doing a very critical idea, cutting the king off. All right, here we go. King e2, rook f5, g3, and this is exactly what I want. The pawn is one step closer to me. At this point, we were both surviving off increment, so just 30 seconds each move. King e4, rook over, d4, rook d7, and here, there's a few different ways to make progress. I do kind of fiddle around here just because I'm seeing if he's going to let me play easy, but he kept playing the best defense. But this also gives me more time on the clock here too. Rook a5, I knew he was going to check. Rook e5, rook d7, and here I played rook to d5 here. Once you get the rook behind the pawn, it's going to be a very easy task here to win the game. Rook e7 check, king f5, and the king's running to g4 to get the g3 pawn. The king needs to stay over here to defend, or else my passed pawn will just push. So, yep, this king is over here, and this rook cannot defend both of these guys. King d3 got played, king g4, rook g7, and taking on g3 right away is a move. I just don't like it as much as after taking on g3, king e4. Now, I did calculate if I could play pawn d3, and unfortunately this did not work. If d3 gets played, king takes d5 exclam. d2, it looks like everything's good, but after rook takes g5 check, king f2, there's no way to escape this rook's checks, or at least letting the rook sacrifice itself. Rook f5 check, king e1, rook e5 check, king f2, rook f5 check. So at some point you have to run your king in front of the pawn, or the rook just keeps going. king to d1, and now you just simply play king c4, and the rook can come over and sacrifice itself. So I had to be careful here with this endgame. Fortunately for me, I did see this idea, and so instead of taking the pawns just so soon, I went ahead and played king f3. The idea being, well, it cuts off the king from going to e4, and also I could just play g4 here myself and then take on g3. With the pawn one step closer, this actually does help because rook takes g5 check will not be there. Now this idea of king e4, I can just push the pawn forward. All right, rook over, g4, rook check, king takes, king e4 here. And, well, you could... Actually, I'm not too sure. I think you could just push the pawn here. Oh, you have to... Actually, no, you can't because here the rook has access over here, right? So if you do try pushing, it just doesn't work. King takes d5, d2, and rook f1 here. You'll win this pawn, and then you'll sacrifice the rook for the other pawn. So it doesn't work here because the rook is now on the different file. With that being said, just a simple rook d7 wins. King tries to blockade. So the king will blockade this pawn, but it can't stop this pawn now. King g2, rook over, g3, rook over, king f2, rook over, king over, rook over, pawn to g2, and rook g8. At this point, all I need to do now is put the rook to f7 or to h7 here to block the rook from the checks that will be happening. Yeah, here I played, I think, the most logical one, which is rook to f7 here. And the idea is that now my king can just go to f2 here without having to worry too much. If he does try to play king e2 here, there was a few moves he could play. I had decided I was just going to play pawn d3 check, and after king takes king over, it's going to be game over here with this rook and pawn endgame. Again, he did a very good job defending in this game. I was just able to keep pushing and making progress the whole way through. Well, guys, this was my 4th round game. We'll see you in the next one. Round 5 against Garcia's getting played, Alfredo. And that was a pretty interesting game, so I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.